Hey gang, we had Captain Jeff Kraynik in the show this morning, talked a lot about fishing, a lot about lagoon restoration with Captain Mike Mann on a call-in from the Mosquito Lagoon, what the water quality looks like in all three lagoons right now, and then of course the cobia run, the tripletail run that's going on along the beach. And then we also got into some really cool stuff with Captain Jeff, being an ex-law enforcement officer with the Palm Bay Police Department for 30 years. He's obviously got a lot of knowledge about shooting and what you need to carry if you're looking for like a personal defense type weapon, a home defense type weapon, things of that nature. So check this show out because we are giving you his thoughts after 30 years of experience in that as to what you guys and gals should probably look for whenever you're trying to arm yourselves in a personal carry type of a scenario. So enjoy today's show and don't go away. We've got more coming every single week. We got more coming at you. Hopefully you will enjoy every single one of them.
You're listening to WWBC, Cocoa, Melbourne, Titusville, 1510 AM, as well as W234BI, Cocoa, Rockledge, and W264AS, Rockledge, Melbourne, Palm Bay, and 100.7 FM.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Catch a Memory Outdoors right here on WWBC 1510 AM. We appreciate you guys and gals tuning in every Saturday morning to see what's going on here up and down Florida's Space Coast. I'm Captain Jim Ross. We're going to do this thing that we call Catch a Memory for the next 2 hours of the show here, and I want to say good morning to those of you out there on the AM and FM frequencies, so good morning. And also, for those of you on the streaming audio, at catchamemory.outdoors.com, click on that Listen Live tab from the website or the WWBC app. That's a great app. If you guys haven't checked the app out, WWBC app, you can download it right to your phone and you can listen to us anywhere. And, of course, if you want to see what we're doing in the studio, which typically, you know, for years and years, everybody says, Jim, you got a face for radio. I got to agree. But and my co-host this morning said he's concurring. He is concurring right along. Captain Jeffrey Kraynik's in with me this morning. But good morning to those of you out there on Facebook. We appreciate everybody out there tuning in to the show every single week. And you know what? If you want to get involved with the show, we would love to hear from you. 321-632-1000. That's 321-632-1000. Give us a call right here at the studio in Cocoa. Jeffrey and I are going to be talking about a few things this morning. And hopefully you guys and gals will be able to play along. We'd love for you to get involved.
We got
in
a
the
busy
show.
2 months coming up.
We do. There's going to be a couple of live remotes that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing. We've got a chance for the St. Johns River Water Management District to come back in, and they're going to talk to us about invasive species of plants, different things like that, how they're trying to work on getting rid of them, various other things. You know, the thing that's really interesting to me with that particular group is that they realize that as Brevard County was being built out, there was a lot of mistakes made in draining the land where that drainage goes to, mainly into the St. Johns River.
Right.
And they're actively working on finding ways to be able to mitigate the amount of fresh water getting into the saltwater lagoon system. And that's exactly what this lagoon system needs, because as we continue to develop out Brevard County, we're getting less and less areas of natural forage or natural vegetation, I should say, where the water can just seep into the ground. It's hitting pavement, it's hitting concrete, and it's running off into the gutter, and the gutter goes to the storm drain, and the storm drain's got to go somewhere. And over the years, when we weren't so big, it was a very easy thing. Well, just let it flow to the lagoon, because there was enough area in the 1960s and 1970s that were still natural that it wasn't that much water. As we got into the later 80s, well into the 90s, 2000s, and then this latest boom from 2010 until now, I mean, we've probably, so I don't know what the body count was here in Brevard County. I don't know how many people were living in Brevard County in 2010, but
Yeah.
I would say we easily have doubled that amount
Yes.
in the last 15 years.
Yes.
We're well over 700,000 people living in Brevard County.
Yes.
And because of that, they have to have places to live. And that means you mow down trees, you mow down palm forests, you mow down pine flats, you mow down scrub areas, and you pave them over, and then that water has to go somewhere. And the St. John's Water Management District doesn't have much to work with anymore because we're pretty much built out or pretty close to it. And so those guys are
Not
still...
even close, buddy.
Oh,
Not even close.
I should say this. We're built out within the confines of the county on which we should be building.
Yes. Yeah.
Because now they've gotten past where we should be building, and they're building where we shouldn't be building. We're now draining swampland and filling swampland, which shouldn't be built on,
No.
to be able to accommodate people that want to move here. And so St. John's River Water Management District is trying to figure out what to do with that stuff.
Their hands are tied because back when who was the bald governor? He's in Congress.
Rick Scott.
When Rick Scott was in office, he put a mandate down to all 5 water management districts that if these permits meet the minimum requirements, sign them off, get them back to the builder so they can get to work. And their hands are still tied on that. You know, and there's only so much that they can do. And part of the problem is let's take Palm Bay. I mean, I've lived there since 1985. They had all this marshland or ranch land to the west and the south come into the city back probably 06. Because the bubble burst in 08 is when that bubble popped, the real estate bubble. Anyways, so the land just sat until they got the parkway in, which they sold to the public as an emergency escape route for hurricanes. Well, I saw what was going on. They are opening up all the pasture and ranch lands for development. And what's the first thing that they do? They change the density on them.
Right.
Okay, if they wouldn't change the density, well, one, they'd make no money, so there'd be no reason for them to build.
Right.
So now we've got 0 lot line HOA communities, and you don't dare get on the parkway in the morning or the afternoon rush hour because you'll be down there for about 33 minutes.
I'm going to tell you something. I don't go to Melbourne, O'Galley, Palm Bay, Melbourne Beach very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But it used to take me from Rockledge to the Sebastian Jetty. I'd go across Pineda Causeway or O'Galley Causeway or Melbourne Causeway and cross over to the beach side. I could drive from my house in Rockledge to the Sebastian North Jetty and be standing there with a fishing rod in my hand in about 48 minutes. It was on average about 48 minutes. Sometimes if I was a little, flying a little low, it'd be 45. If I was running a little slow, maybe it'd be 50, 52. But it took us last night to go from my house in Rockledge to Skewer's Restaurant. We were celebrating, by the way, happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Yesterday to my wife, Robin, and also to Blair's wife, Carrie Wiggins. Happy birthday. So we went to dinner last night. By the way, we missed you. Wish you could have been there, but we understand. Other circumstances were involved. Family involved. So missed you guys last night. But it took us almost 50 minutes
just to get to
Skewers from our house. I'm driving down US 1. The traffic light at US 1 and Suntree Boulevard, it took us 3 light changes before we finally got through that light. And I timed it. It was green going north and south on US 1. It was green for 45 seconds. The cross traffic coming off of Suntree Boulevard was about 42 seconds. And then the turn signal off of US 1 going on westbound onto Suntree was about 25 seconds. So it created such a backup at that particular log jam that we were backed up all the way to the cemetery in Rockledge to even get through that light change.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is silly. And the same thing occurred at Pineda Causeway. And the same thing occurred at Lake Washington Boulevard on US 1. And the same thing occurred at Aurora Road on US 1 in Aurora. And the same thing occurred on the turn. Finally, instead of going all the way down to 192 and going across, Waze, we had it plugged in. Waze is like turn on O'Galley. It's actually faster to go O'Galley to the beach side and then come back in than it was to go down US 1 to 192 because of so much traffic.
I know my way around. I spent 30 years
driving the road.
Driving around.
Yeah.
And nowadays, it's better to punch in the location to figure out what is the quickest route.
Yeah. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it took us, almost 10 minutes shy of an hour to go what used to be 25 minutes, 27 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just sitting there shaking my head. And my wife was like, get used to it. It ain't going to get any better.
This whole boom really reminds me of what happened down in Fort Lauderdale and Miami with the Sawgrass Expressway.
Yes.
When it kicks to the west, and then all of a sudden for 20 miles you're riding along the main levee of the Everglades, and they've built right up to the Everglades. Same things happened down in Palm Bay. They have built right up to the L-74 levee, probably not being told that there's a wildlife management area on the other side of the levee.
Well, what's interesting is right when they built that, I used to go, I've been going down to the Keys for 36 years, okay? Right when they built that, the cities of North Palm, Tamarack, Oakland, Davie, all of those, none of them extended out that way.
Yeah,
and now, when I go down to do the Florida Insider Fishing Report TV show, that's the way I take to get to the studio in Miramar, not in Miramar, in Hialeah. And once again, they are pressed all the way to the Glades Sawgrass. They are pressed against it, and it's built out as far as you can. And the reason I used to know that area pretty good is back in my early 20s, I was dating a girl from here that got a job in Hollywood, and she was trying to find a place to stay. She ended up moving to Tamarack. That was the closest place she could find an apartment that she could afford, first of all. And that was right around Hurricane Andrew time, like right after Hurricane Andrew. So everybody that was displaced had taken up all of the Fort Lauderdale, West Palm vacancies. They had bought all those properties, moved in, rented, whatever, because Miami got destroyed and Homestead got destroyed. So those people were all displaced and pushed north.
Yep.
She had to move to Tamarack before she could find a place, and then had to commute back and forth to Hollywood. That's like driving from here to Orlando. I mean, it's 45 miles.
Yeah.
And so we used to drive around that area a lot, and it was it was sparse back in those days.
Well, look at all the apartment complexes that have popped up.
Yeah.
They've either got, they're half full, or they've got buildings that they just stopped working on that still need to be finished. And it's like that at a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are changing.
So anyway, going back to where does the water go? What does St. John's do with the water? Obviously, they've got a big task on their hands, and like you say, in a lot of cases, their hands are tied as to what they can and cannot do based on what the current legislation is.
At least Tropical Storm Faye taught us a lot. Okay, because they really kicked it into high gear after that.
Yeah.
They quadrupled the size of the C1 canal going out to the marsh, which really helped. They had all that right of way, and you had the canal, and what they did is they stepped it up,
yeah,
and quadrupled the capacity going to the west.
Yeah.
Headwaters Lake. A lot of people don't know that. Why does it go from asphalt to cement and then into the parking lot of the stick marsh? Well, it's kind of a flowway. If we get another storm event like that, and they have to push water into the lagoon, comes out of headwaters to the C-54 and then goes out.
Yeah.
But right now, all that water's staying in the marsh getting filtered.
Which is great for the Indian River Lagoon.
Yeah,
Because
both of them benefit.
the last thing you want in a saltwater lagoon is a freshwater input. So, kudos to them. There's still a lot of work. And where I see the most amount of work that needs to be done is basically from Rockledge Cocoa north. Because, man, they are so limited in what they can do and where they can put that water all the way up through Titusville. Everything right now is plumbed to go to the lagoon. Everything. Bird Plaza Shopping Center on the corner of Dixon Boulevard and US 1. I look at that and I think to myself, golly, that's a lot of water. I mean, when you look at that footprint of that plaza, which was one of the original kind of shopping malls way back in the day, back in the early 70s, that is a gigantic asphalt platform with drains all in it. And it doesn't drain to a retention pond. It goes straight into a pipe that goes straight under US 1 and right into the river. And there's nowhere, because that whole area is built out, unless they took a piece of that parking lot and created a retention pond, there's nowhere between that parking lot and the river to create a catch basin for any of that rainwater. Mm-hmm. So they have to deal with things like that, and the county obviously has to deal with things like that as well. So it's hard to unplumb some of this stuff because of the build-out that's going on around it. So anyway, but yeah, we're going to have a good talk about that, but and the vegetation spraying, we're going to have a good talk about that, so we want you guys and gals to get involved with that. But when we come back, Captain Jeff Kraynik and I are going to talk a little bit about some fishing and a little bit about you know what I wanted to talk about today? I want to talk a little bit, not just fishing, because we all love that. You, being an ex-law enforcement officer, obviously are proficient with various types of guns. Handguns, sidearms, rifles, that sort of thing, shotguns. I kind of wanted to talk about how that has basically transitioned over into your hunting and some tips that we can give to the listeners out there as to how they can improve themselves, think with their pistol, with their shotgun, with their rifle. So we're going to have a whole lot of fun stuff to talk about today. Don't go away. We got a lot more Catch a Memory coming right back after these messages. And Captain Jeff Kraynik and myself are going to return here shortly. Assassin, the most trusted name in bass fishing lures, is now the top soft plastic lure brand for saltwater. Sea trout, tarpon, redfish, and snook hammer the Saltwater Assassin 4-inch sea shad. With its amazing swimming action, this lure sets the bar for swim bait designs. Other companies continue to try, but none have been able to replicate the action of this incredible minnow-style lure. But Assassin has other proven designs. I like the native shiner-colored 5-inch Shad Assassin. That's my go-to lure when I'm targeting big gator trout. Redfish love the Drunk Monkey or the Mudbug-colored 4-inch Assassin Shrimp Cocktail. And you can rig these on a weedless worm hook or the amazing Assassin Springlock Jig Head. Now, these are just a few of my favorite Assassin lures. Check out what top professional anglers have known for years. Assassin lures simply catch more fish, and you can get them at your local tackle.com and get some of these fantastic lures for yourself today. Starbright Premium Marine Polish helps keep your boat looking great. This easy-to-apply premium polish uses polymers instead of wax, so it lasts up to 3 times longer than traditional boat wax. The polymers in Starbright Premium Marine Polish are also easier to apply, block UV rays better, and help keep fish blood, slime, and poop and other stuff from sticking to your gel coat. Starbright Premium Marine Polish isn't a wax, it's a sealer. It's safe for all fiberglass, paints, and polished metals. You won't believe how awesome Starbright Premium Marine Polish will make your car or truck look too. Wax is for surfboards, not boats. Protect your boat with Starbright Premium Marine Polish. Hey guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by Strike Zone down in Melbourne. Man, I'm telling you what, if you missed that tent sale a couple of weeks ago, that was an awesome event.
I did.
Hopefully they'll have that going on again here pretty soon. But, every other day of the month, you can get down to Strike Zone, and you can either use that gift card that you got for Christmas or your Valentine's card, maybe. Maybe you had a birthday in between there, and you can use that gift card to get all the cool stuff. And if you don't have a gift card, well, you know what? You can go down and find some stuff. Anyway, they've got an entire store full of really cool stuff. So, I was searching around in there. Of course, you can't walk in there. As much tackle as I have, I still walk out of there, and it's $100.
Yep.
Every time I walk out of that store, because I'm like, oh, I need that. Oh, I got to restock on that. Oh, I forgot. I got to get some of those too. And pretty soon, that 3 items that you were going to just run in and run out real quick, it turns into 9.
Well, I have this discussion with buddies all the time. It's like, oh, hey, where'd you get the lure? Oh, I got it at a big box store, real cheap.
Right.
But Sean and Strike Zone's right down the road. Well, they're a little higher priced, and, that's true, that you might be paying just a bit more. Most of the time you're paying the same, but if you find something that works for you someplace else and walk in and said, Sean, what do you know about these? Well, nothing. Let's get a few on the shelf and find out. Yeah. You're not going to get that from a big box store.
Right.
The personalized service.
Yeah.
And all the guys, I should say kids anymore, they got a whole new generation of kids that know what they're doing in regards to the tackle. They're all fishermen.
Yeah.
The ones before them were all fishermen. So, it's a pretty special place.
Yeah. When you walk in that store, you're not dealing with somebody who was working in the shoe department yesterday and working in lingerie department the day before. You got somebody who's working in the fishing department every single day.
Correct.
So that's the benefit to go in there. And if you don't know what colors we're biting on, they can probably tell, hey, I was at the inlet last night throwing a bucktail, a flare hawk, a Rapala X-Wrap lip diving plug, or whatever, and this is the color they wanted last night.
Yep.
So you get that kind of real-time information. Now, is that worth paying $1 more for that lure? Maybe so, because let's say you picked up the blackback silver belly X-Wrap 14, and you're like, oh, I know they'll eat this thing. But last night, they wanted the one that had the chartreuse back and the orange belly.
And that's
because
why
the water was dirty.
That's why you walk out of there every time with $100.
It's exactly why. Exactly.
I know I do.
So that's the kind of experience that you have when you go to Strike Zone, is those guys and gals down there can help you. And if the person you're talking to wasn't at the inlet standing on the jetty last night or drifting the inlet and doing whatever, the other guy behind the counter or the other guy that's over there, putting away the extra tough boots.
Yeah.
He was. So somebody was, So it's just, it's a great place to go, and just using that as an example. But you insert your style of fishing, and somebody in the store was probably doing it within the last week, and they can tell you firsthand, hey, this is what I just experienced because I was just out there doing it. So stop in at Strike Zone, check them out. You're going to be impressed. They're down on 192 in Melbourne. Tell them you heard about it right here on Catch Your Memory Outdoors, so we appreciate that. And so do they, because they know that, hey, we're sending people their way because they get the job done for you, and we want to let you know about that. We're going to go to the phone lines. We got Captain Mike Mann on the line. Good morning, buddy.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
Doing good. What's up there, cobia Slayer?
Oh, jeez, man. Got one day to get out, and thanks from a tip from my good friend Jimmy. And I finished up my charter, ran home, switched boats, and headed out there and got down there and got it, and it was tasty too.
I'll bet.
Now I'm trying to figure out when can I get back out again.
That's going to be an issue because it is March, and east winds don't work when you're trying to go chase cobia, because east at 10 to 15 makes 3 to 5 at 5 seconds, and east at 15 to 20 makes 4 to 6 or 5 to 7 at 5 seconds. And then we're going to get Tuesday, it looks like we're going to be back up to 20 knots like we were yesterday. So it's going to be, who knows? It's going to be whatever it's going to be at way too tight a period. So, but you know what? The nice thing about yesterday, in the morning anyway, a bunch of that wind was still northeast. And that will suppress their migration north, which is a good thing. Now, later in the day, it kind of switched to east, which isn't as good. But as long as it's got a little bit of north fetch to it, I'm fine. If it wants to blow 20 knots at northeast or 20 knots at north, you blow, baby. You blow. Keep those fish bottled up down here off the Space Coast where we can get to them whenever it does calm down. But man, that southeast blows it right past us, and man, we don't need any south. We don't need any south at all in the wind right now.
No. And one of the cool things I saw was, typically there's a lot of rays and with a few cobia. Every ray we found, with the exception of one, had cobia on them. Yeah. Now, they weren't all keepers. There were some small ones. And I don't, that was pretty refreshing. But it's been a weird week of weather. I had 80-degree water in the lagoon this week. Now it's back down to 72.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to figure out how that happened. The only thing I can figure is that wind switching east, it pushed a lot of that 70-degree water, that 69, 70-degree water from the ocean into the lagoon and started pushing it back south and dropped that water temperature down almost 10 degrees.
Mike, I was in the Mesquite Lagoon yesterday, and the one thing
I should have called. I was too.
Oh, well, the one thing I was surprised about was, first of all, that Titusville's water, when we had that south wind a couple of days last week, it did blow a bunch of cruddy looking water from the riverside over to the lagoon side. So the water just does not look good at all. But yesterday I was surprised with an east wind, just how low the water was still in the lagoon. It has not come back up.
Yeah.
I'm ready for some of this sea level rise that we keep hearing about, I'm ready for it.
Tired of tearing up your lower unit in the sand?
I couldn't get in Widgeon Bay. I couldn't go to Orvis Cove. I couldn't get behind Cucumber. I couldn't get into Turtle Pen. I was in the big boat yesterday because it was blowing 20 to 25.
Right.
So I'm in the big boat so I don't get beat up, and I couldn't fish whale on top of Whale Tail. There was no water on top of Whale Tail. The birds were standing on dry land in the middle of it.
Wow.
The herons were wading the edge, but they weren't even. It's like where's all the water?
Yeah, I had 2 days this week. I was in the big boat in the lagoon, and then I was back in the skiff yesterday. But to be honest with you, it didn't make that big of a difference. It was funky yesterday. Everywhere, because the water temperature changed and the clarity coming back, I found one school of black drum, and they instantly disappeared. I talked to one of the other captains I work with. He did pretty good. I think he ended up with 6 reds, but he was working different points, throwing a chunk up there and waiting and letting it sit. And I had active guys who wanted to cast, so that was not a scenario that would work for us. So, we covered water, and, we caught a lot of different fish, but we didn't get any of the home run fish we were looking for.
Yeah. The other thing I was surprised about, Mike, east-west bar, the whole middle and west end of the east-west bar didn't have any grass on it at all.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, it was just mud. And
that's one of the first spots those manatees like to hit coming out.
Oh, there was plenty of that, and Falls Channel. They were all, man, it was a slalom course trying to get through Falls Channel.
Yeah, something's got to be done. They've got to stop. They've got to stop them from congregating around the warm water discharge. They got to start the migration. They got to migrate again.
It is definitely concentrating them. That's for sure.
It's concentrating them, and you can't. If you start with 10 cows on 5 acres, and you never take them off of there, in 5 years you've got 50 cows that are starving to death on the same 5 acres.
Yes.
And you gotta open the gates and let them move to different pastures. And that the warm water discharge they've got that they used to not do in the wintertime. And so the fish or the manatees migrated. They got to start that back up. Migration is what all animals that migrate. The migration is what weeds out the weak, the sick, and it allows the healthy population. So not only does it allow a larger population, but having this, it's a sicker population. It's not as healthy of a population when you stop the migration.
Yeah, I concur.
And dumber too, that have not learned. Hey, we got hit by a boat here yesterday. Let's go lay back in the same spot.
Well, it's like the whooping cranes up north. You know, they started bringing them down here in a ultralight plane because they didn't know how to migrate anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's it. You've got to. Those animals, they did a migration. There was a migration for a reason. It moved them to fresher pastures. Buffalo did it. Elk do it. All the big herbivores migrate, and there's a reason for that. So if you stop it, even in Florida with a temperate climate, it gets too cold up here, and let them move south. That lets the weak ones kind of die off, which I hate to say, but it does let the weak and sick ones die off. I mean, I've seen more manatees in the last 2 weeks than I probably have seen ever.
There's a
there's
bunch.
a lot of them.
Well, here's the other thing that's happening, Mike, just to kind of, from the Indian River Lagoon side.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that's happening with the migration. 15 years ago, they would never leave the outflow. 15, 18 years ago, they would never leave the outflow until the water temperature hit 68 degrees. Okay?
Yeah.
That was their threshold. It was almost the same for cobia, the same for tripletail, the same for, every other species. It's like 68 is like that magic number. They would not leave.
65 is now.
They would not leave the warm water outflow until that temperature hit 68 degrees because they didn't have to go far. They could just run across to the east side of the lagoon around the Clam Lease, the Nassau Causeway, north of the Nassau Causeway, and they could go ahead and get their grass. They could get some food. Well, now, because that whole side is devoid of grass, they're having to go all the way to Marsh Bay, Black Point and Marsh Bay, before they're finding any grass. So now, this year, I was actually seeing animals that were returning back to the flow at 60 and 61 degrees. You'd see them coming back in the mornings after going up there and feeding all night, coming back to try and get warm. And then also groups of animals at 60 and 61 and 62 degrees leaving in the morning after they'd been warm, leaving to go up there. And it's crazy that we have changed their migration pattern to the point where they're endangering themselves with hypothermia to get out and actually try and get some food, find some food.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's a shame. And I think the Save the Manatee Club, the Defenders of Wildlife, and every one of those other organizations out there who follow and actively push regulations for the manatees needs to have something to say in regards to that. I mean, they can stop you from getting your dock built, but they can't stop the migration because the power plant isn't returning water temperatures that are cold enough that they don't want to stay here to make them migrate south. There's an easy way to do it. It's just a simple ratio of putting more cold water in with that warm water outflow and bringing that temperature down so that they don't stay. But they're not dumb animals. People say that, they're just stupid animals. No, they're really smart, actually. I mean, I watch them every day. You watch them every day. They're really smart animals. They're not the brightest when it comes to trying to outrun an outboard motor, but that's not their fault. They don't have directional hearing. They're not like, deer have directional hearing. Deer have some of the best hearing in the entire world, and yet a deer will intentionally run across in front of you in your car because they get spooked. Manatees don't know which way to run because they can't tell where the sound is coming from. So they just start running in the direction they're pointing. Sometimes they actually run into your path as opposed to running away from your path because of that. And it's unfortunate that happens, but it does happen. But if they weren't here to begin with, if they were down farther south, then there would be a lot better chance of them to be able to not have a starvation issue occurring. Hey, buddy, we got to take a short pause. I'm going to come back to you if you can stick through the break. Okay. Can you do that?
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, because I got a couple questions for you. Guys and gals, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, Captain Jeff Kraynik, myself, Jim Ross, and Captain Mike Mann on the call-in line are going to be right back with more Catch a Memory, so don't go away. Grill's Seafood Deck and Tiki Bar is one of the Space Coast's most popular local hangouts. We love to kick back and relax at either of their waterfront locations with a cool tropical frozen drink and some of the freshest island-style seafood around. Grill's is known for its fantastic food quality, like their bacon-wrapped scallops. shrimp Cuban sandwich, or one-of-a-kind Bahamian fish chowder. The Tiki Deck features some of the area's best local bands throughout the week, plus Grills has a fantastic breakfast menu, too. Chill out at Grills' original location in the Cove at Port Canaveral, right next to Sunrise Marina, or check out Grills' Riverside location on Highway US 1, just north of the Pineda Causeway. Go to www.grillsseafood.com for more information, and remember, it all happens at Grills. Nobody likes to pay for insurance, but you have to have it. So do what I did. Go to Petrucci Insurance. They're your local independent insurance agent, and they're here to make sure you get the right policy to fit your insurance needs at the best price available. I gave Petrucci Insurance a call. They reviewed my current policy and saved me $700 on my home insurance alone. Plus, Petrucci found me better coverage than the policy I had with my other company that I'd been with for years. Don't waste money another day. Call Petrucci Insurance at 321-632-1200. That's 321-632-1200. And stop wasting money on your home, car, boat, and life insurance today. Trailer problems can be a real day breaker. When you need to go to the area's best trailer supply and repair shop, try Ferguson's. Family owned and operated since 1954 and located on Highway 192 in West Melbourne, Ferguson's has a huge supply of trailer tires, wheels, axles, lights, jacks, and other trailer parts in stock. If you're not a do-it-yourselfer, stop by and pick up the parts you need. If not, let their expert staff do the repairs for you. Ferguson's also installs electric brake controllers, trailer hitches, and goosenecks. They have a full line of automotive and marine interstate batteries, so if you need a trailer maintenance, repair part, or a new Continental boat trailer, go to the best trailer shop on the Space Coast, Ferguson's. Check them out at fergusonstrailersupply.com or call their shop at 321-723-5425. Hey guys and gals, appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by Direct Graphics. If you're looking for shirts, looking for business cards, you're looking for a boat wrap, a truck wrap, a trailer wrap, anything that you might need, the guys and gals at Direct Graphics can take care of you for it. So make sure that you get a hold of them. It's real easy. They've got a simple phone number, 321-631-1001, 631-1001. Super easy to get a hold of Direct Graphics and check it out. Let them they can design whatever you need designed. You can work back and forth with them on a design concept. They get it all tightened up for you and then put it into production and put it on whatever you need to put it on, whether it's fabric or whether it's vinyl for the side of your boat or a simple business card, yard signs, you name it. They do it right there at Direct Graphics. So give them a shout, 321-631-1001. We're going back to the phone lines. Captain Mike Mann's on the line.
Oh, he's still on the line.
He's still there, yeah.
Oh,
couldn't get rid of him.
I'm still here.
Mike, so you were in the lagoon yesterday, you were saying, and so your guys, they don't really want to chunk bait. And yesterday was really a chunk bait kind of a day. Get some scent out in the water. It's blowing 20, gusting to 25. Water's kind of muddy. So what do you do? I mean, what's Captain Mike's game plan when you've got a scenario where the winds are not really in your favor, but you've got to produce? What happened with Mike yesterday?
We started out in the morning, kind of working leeward sides of shores, throwing top water.
Okay, so you're looking for that little bit cleaner water, a little bit calmer water, and a noisy search bait to try to figure out if they're willing to strike or not.
That is correct. And the problem we had then is because it was so windy, the chop, we had a few blow-ups, but they would miss it because, the plug's going up and down. And so the few blow-ups we had on that we missed, with the exception of a really lovely, nice houndstooth got on.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. So we actually completed a trash can slam, super grand slam yesterday. So, that's what we did. And then, if I've got guys that want to cast, then I'll switch to paddle tails. If the paddle tails or the jerk baits don't work, next thing I do is I've always got shrimp on the boat. Shrimp on a jig head, you can cast it. and you can work it back.
Right,
Just like
right.
an artificial, but, so that's typically my go-to. And, and that produced some fish. We got some ladyfish. We got a lot of little sand tiger sharks are in the lagoon right now. Or sandbar sharks.
Uh-huh.
Sand tiger sharks. Yeah, the ones with the pointy sickle tail. Those are sand tigers. But there's a lot.
Do they have teeth sticking out of their mouth, or is there teeth in their mouth?
Yeah, the teeth in their mouth, but they have like a sickle tail, almost looks like a thrasher, but it's not the tail.
It might be sharp nose. Yeah, it might be sharp nose.
It could be sharp nose. They're small. I mean, they're 3 foot long.
Yep. Yeah, it's probably sharp nose.
They're one of the biggest pupping areas in the area.
Yeah. I couldn't believe all the lemon sharks on the beach this winter. Holy cow. I mean, we had hundreds and hundreds of them.
The lemons.
Well, look what Blair and Kyle ran into last weekend.
Yeah. Great white.
15-foot great white shark.
Yeah, the great white's been out there. There's been a bunch of these. We had a big hammerhead while cobia fishing the other day. I mean, a big, not a huge one, but, 8-9 foot. And we saw it, and I'm like, is that a free swimmer? If it is, it's the biggest one I've ever seen. We get up there, and, it's a hammerhead just kind of cruising, doing what they do. But, yeah, so that's what we do. And typically I go to a little deeper water so you can cast up the shorelines and bounce it back. The biggest problem yesterday with those conditions is boat placement. You can't keep the boat moving slow enough, or you're constantly off and on your power pole.
Yeah.
Or if you're trying to move into the wind, they can't cast into the wind. So it was just an all-around challenging day. And,
that is the truth.
We caught fish and had fun, but, they understood that, look, it's the third different wind direction I've had in 3 days, and in the different weather conditions. And it looks like we're back into the 50s as the highs for 2 days coming up this week, which I'm okay with. I don't want to see 80-degree water temperature this soon in the lagoon.
No. Unfortunately, Mike, because of the fish kill this year, we've also, the areas that are typically still clean right now are not clean. Listeners of this show know that I'm passionate about the Indian and Banana River. I fish them a lot, okay? And the Banana River last year looked the best that it's looked in a long, long time. And unfortunately, because of the fish kills that we've had this year in Banana River, Sykes Creek, and then portions of the Indian River, all of those nutrients from those dying fish has now escaped into the lagoon or dissolved into the lagoon system, and it's created a huge algae bloom issue. The water now in early March looks like the water typically looks after we've gotten our summer rains and flushed all of the fertilizers into the lagoon and runoff into the lagoon, and it looks like September, August and September water. And so I have a feeling that unless I don't even know, we're just gonna have to call Blair and tell him to put some more clams in the water. We got to get some filtration going on
next month.
Yeah, next month we're doing another clam planting, but we need more filtration to overcome the nutrient load that went in, and also the algae that are now feeding on that. And in some cases, it was bacteria as well. There was a few days where it's hard to explain if you're not on the water every day, but I know some of the listeners out there know exactly what I'm talking about. You get the
smell,
pungent, musty funk kind of a smell whenever there's a bunch of bacteria in the water. And it had that smell like about a week to about 2 weeks after the fish kill this year. It had that smell to it in the water. And it's just an odd stench. And then you combine that with the super low water, so you had the green algae and things that are attached to the barnacles, attached to the mangrove roots, the rocks, things like that, all of that exposed for day after day. You had that funk smell mixed in with the bacteria smell. And it's a really odd combination. Every one of my customers was like, why does it stink so bad? And it's like, well, we had a fish kill. We've got bacteria, ramping up. We've got low water. We've got barnacles dying off. We've got seagrasses and algae dying off. It's part of the natural cycle of the lagoon system anymore, but it's hard to deal with. And so I'm glad that we're at least past that portion of it, but we've still got the algae bloom portion to deal with.
Yeah, my hope is that we don't end up with another scenario like we had in 2010, 2011, where it then starts transitioning into a long period algae bloom where we start losing grass again.
I was talking with the guys over at the Water Management District, and we're nowhere near the numbers that we had in 2010. So we are in better shape. We're not going to get we're probably not going to get another fish kill from a freeze.
No.
We're back in 2010. We had 11 nights in a row where it got below 32 degrees. Yeah. So we're over the hump with the cold stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I think it got cold. I mean, we didn't have that massive of a fish kill up this way. Now, once you got up in the creeks, there were definitely a few areas that had, some definitely fish kill. But in the flats, ironically, I saw very few dead fish. I'd see a catfish here or there. I did see one shark, ironically, that didn't make it. But it was mostly small bait fish. A lot because the cold was slowly ramping down, or ramping up, I guess you'd say, where it gradually got colder. The larger fish tend to move into the deeper spots.
Yeah.
So that's what I think happened up here. Now, some of my creeks that were a little bit deeper weren't quite deep enough, and that's where we had, a die-off, and we had some areas where there wasn't any flow, where there was a die-off. But it wasn't nearly as bad as I was expecting, and, thank God, because we've actually got a really good targetable snook population up here, and we did not, our trout numbers have been down. There were some big trout that did not make it, but there's still some good big trout being caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see some of the big trout return to this area because we lost, unfortunately, that was one of the hardest hit populations was our sea trout. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah, you said you had really clean water last year down your way. Now, up my way last year, starting around April 1st, we had an algae bloom that lasted until October, November. And it was some dirty water that pushed up. We had a really big, strong south-southwest wind for like 3-4 days. And it pushed it in, and it never went away because it was so far past any cold front coming in and really big northern wind pushing it through. But the year before, we had the cleanest water I've seen in years because we had the 4 breaches on the Mosquito Lagoon side from Hurricane Nicole.
Yeah.
And those 4 breaches, man, that did wonders for the lagoon until, the Canaveral decided they had to fill them back in really quick.
Yeah, they should have just left them heal on their own. They weren't.
Yeah.
Well, there was 1 or 2 that were impeding some progress, some access points to the Playa Linda, but the rest of them, they could have just left alone and let them heal themselves. Well, buddy, great discussion this morning. Let's hope that the Mosquito Lagoon starts getting some more water back in it, and because it would be really nice if I could get the bigger boat into some of those little areas that I like to get to, because the little boat needs a new motor, and I'm not going to take that thing out in the shape that it's in because I don't trust it right now. So until I get a new motor on the little boat, we're just going to continue using the big boat. But how does somebody get a hold of you, Mike?
Yeah, I've got some days. I've still got days available coming up. You can reach me at area code 386-295-5991. You can go right to my website, fatfishguide.com, and book through there. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, CAPT, Mike Mann with 2 N's. Guys, get out there, catch a memory, and have a great weekend, and happy St. Patrick's Day coming up.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, buddy. We'll talk with you soon. Thanks for the report.
Take care, Jeff. Take care, Jimmy. Have a great day.
Bye now. Hey, gang, we got our next break. Captain Jeff Kraynik and myself will be right back, so don't go away. Who's got the best selection of rods and reels from Penn, Daiwa, and Shimano? Lures from No Live Bait Needed, Rapala, Mirror Lure, and Saltwater Assassin, and one of the largest selections of coolers and boating supplies in the entire state. Well, Ace Hardware in Titusville, that's who. Ace in Titusville is your one-stop shop for all of the fishing and boating supplies you'll need. Ace is just minutes away from the Titusville boat ramps, and their parking lot allows you to get in and out even when you're trailering your boat. Check out the largest selection of fishing and boating gear in the northern Space Coast area at Ace Hardware in Titusville on US 1.
If you listen to this show, you know Captain Jim Ross is a leading authority on light tackle fishing on Florida's Space Coast. Jim grew up on the banks of the Indian River Lagoon and has been a full-time fishing guide for almost 30 years. In that time, Jim's clients have landed over 30,000 trout, redfish, snook, and tarpon from our local waters. So if you're looking for an experienced fishing guide to take you on your next fishing adventure, book a trip with Captain Jim Ross. Just go to finelinefishingcharters.com to book your next trip with Captain Jim and get ready to catch your next
Hey, let me tell you
memory.
about Realtor Daniel Hart. He's a guy that really cares about helping his community and our local lagoons. Daniel has already donated thousands of dollars to the Indian River Lagoon Clam Restoration Project from the proceeds of property he sells, and he continues to do this every time he helps one of you buy or sell a property. This makes a huge impact each year for the water quality of our lagoons. Daniel is also passionate about first responders throughout his community. Through his Heroes Real Estate Group, Heroes Rebate Program, Daniel has personally donated over $70,000 to help police, firefighters, veterans, and even school teachers by returning money to them from the purchases of their homes. Going above and beyond for you is what Realtor Daniel Hart is all about. If you're buying or selling a property, call Realtor Daniel Hart to help. Daniel can be reached at 407-247-3894. That's 407-247-3894. Hey guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by Engel Coolers. Obviously, you guys and gals that are watching on the show can see that I've got my Engel tumbler here and got it all stickered up with my Star Bright mullet sticker and my Memory Sticks Pro Staff sticker and all kinds of fun stuff. But anyway, a great product to have if you guys and gals haven't checked these out. Robin approved, okay? Robin approved. My wife, in fact, she did it again this week. She looked at me and she says, I'm taking the Yeti tumbler to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
She got back home and she took the lid off and she just points the top of the cup at me like this and goes, do you see any ice in there? I'm like, nope. She goes, my Engel doesn't do that. There's always ice in my Engel. When I put it in the morning, I come back in the afternoon. So if you're looking for the best tumbler on the market, Robin Ross approved tumbler from Engel, go get yourself one. There you go. EngelCoolers.com or your local retailer. So we thank them for being a sponsor of this segment of the show. Jeff, we were talking about older motors and things like that, and I've got this older Pathfinder, that a little 17 tunnel hull that I haven't been running here for about a year because I'm just a little leery about the motor, but I haven't pulled the trigger. And here's what's going to happen. When I pull the trigger to put the new motor on it, it's also getting a jack plate. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put one of those little Atlas micro jacks from T&H Marine. And then it's going to be scary skinny because right now it'll run in about 6 to 7 inches of water. It'll run in what it'll float in, and actually a little less if I do what I call airboating.
Yeah.
So when I'm airboating, there's a way that you can take this tunnel hull boat and you can put it on a slight curve or a slight kind of a slide almost, like you would be turning an airboat, where it's not really truly a controlled turn. It's just a semi-controlled sliding situation. But I can take that boat and I can trim the motor way up to get the skeg above the bottom of the hull, and on an arc, if you will, mm-hmm. I can go across 3-inch water and not touch bottom. Just skidding sideways, if you will, an airboat sort of a slide. But I want to be able to do that on a straight line. So I'm putting the little micro jack on it. So you're probably looking at
I'm going to say somewhere between 12 and 14,000 between the motor, the new rigging box, and the jack plate. Now it's probably going to be closer to 15 with the jack plate to put on that boat. And then I'm going to have I'm going to have the top deck and stuff totally redone and probably all gripped and then non-skidded, because over the years it's just we've worn the non-skid completely off of it, so the deck's pretty smooth now. So that's going to be another $5,000, $6,000, I'm sure. So I'm looking at a $20,000, investment.
It's cheaper than a $80,000 boat.
Very much so. Very much.
I mean,
so.
I was
that won't go where this boat will go.
Right.
By the way,
Leslie and I looked at buying a new Express. Well, even my price at around 40 is still kind of like, man, do I really want to spend that kind of money on a boat at this point in time in my life?
Yeah.
When I've got a hull that I love to death, that'll do everything I want it to do, and it's got a lifetime warranty on it. The hull does.
Right.
So we've been refurbing that boat, and when it's done, we'll probably have 20,000 into it.
Yeah.
Painting, wire, everything, So, sometimes if you've got the time, you're better off in these times to refurb a boat.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, you know what? I was going to say we need to talk. You know what? Let's get the catch conditions out of the way, because there's some information here that's useful. There's some information that maybe is not for today, but let's get this out of the way. We'll finish off this top of the hour, and then I really want to talk about some accuracy issues, some shooting issues. Not issues, but how do you improve your performance at the range? I know there's a lot of guys out there that go, I'm pretty darn good with a handgun, or I'm pretty darn good with a shotgun or a rifle. But I know that, being in law enforcement, doing the training that you've had, I'd like to talk a little bit about just, commit a segment of the show to creating a better shooter, or a better option for our listeners out there to be able to become more proficient with their firearm. So catch conditions for today look like this, gang. Let's see. Ponce to Sebastian Inlet, we've got east wind at 10 to 15. It's going to stay that way until tomorrow, when it kind of late tonight, early tomorrow, when it starts to come more to the south, which, boo, we don't like that. We don't like south wind at this time of the year. Seas are 4 to 5 feet with a dominant period of about 8 to 9 seconds. 4 Mile buoy is 71 degrees, 3 feet at 8 seconds. 20 Mile buoy is 73 degrees, 4 feet at 8 seconds. Excuse me. 6 Mile buoy out of Fort Pierce, 73 degrees also, 5 feet at 10 seconds. And the western edge of the Gulf Stream is currently 43 nautical miles out of Ponce, 30 out of Canaveral, and 24 out of Sebastian. And the current surf temp at Ponce Inlet is 68 degrees. Cocoa Beach is 71, and Sebastian Inlet is 72. So when you look at 68 ranging from Ponce to 72 at Sebastian, cobia water. We're in cobia water times right now. Hopefully, we'll get a little north that will kind of suppress them so they don't get up to St. Augustine. It keeps them back down this way. Remains to be seen.
Well,
but hopefully
there were some guys on them this week, that's for sure.
Yeah, a couple of guys got on. I called Mike the other day, and I was like, Mike, I'm out of time. They're running north from where I'm at. You need to get here. And he went in and he took his skiff home after his charter, picked up the big boat, grabbed somebody, and ran back out, and ended up getting, 5 or 6 of them. So good for him. I just didn't have the time to commit to it with the amount of time I had left.
Well, and then you had, I don't remember his name, the kayaker that posted.
Yes, Justin Leo.
Yeah.
He got on him pretty good too.
Yeah, he did. As soon as I saw that picture, I sent it out to all you guys.
Yeah.
They're here.
Yep. Lows this morning at Canaveral, we've got an 11:22 a.m. low, a 5:14 p.m. high, and an 11:16 low tonight. Sebastian, we've got an 11:26 a.m. low, a 5:18 p.m. high, excuse me, and an 11:45 p.m. low. And the Soul Lunar tables, which are the best times to typically get out and fish and hunt, presented by All About Archery down in Melbourne. Thank you to Tino and Cheryl and the gang down there at All About Archery. Major this morning goes from 9:05 to 11:05. So as soon as the show's over, it's going to start.
The excuse me, the minor 2:51 to 3:51 p.m. So you guys and gals plan accordingly, and we'll get out there. So anyway, we're going to be right back after these messages here at the top of the hour, and with a whole lot more Catch 'em Memories, so don't go away. We're going to be right back after this.
You're listening to WWBC, Cocoa, Melbourne, Titusville, 1510 AM, as well as W234BI, Cocoa, Rockledge, and W264AS, Rockledge, Melbourne, Palm Bay, and 100.7 FM.
If you're a shooting enthusiast like I am, you have to check out the incredible lineup from Kel-Tec. Developed and made right here in Central Florida, Kel-Tec is a leading industry manufacturer of shotguns, rifles, pistols, and guess what? They're all chambered in common calibers that we all love to shoot. Whether you're a weekend plinker or you want some advanced personal carry or home protection options, Kel-Tec makes exactly what you need. Find a dealer near you or check out the entire line of Kel-Tec weapons, accessories, and apparel by going to keltecweapons.com. Your boat's upholstery looked great when it was new, but over time it gets dingy and stained. Starbright has the perfect combination for your problem. Starbright Ultimate Vinyl Cleaner and Ultimate Vinyl Guard. Starbright's Ultimate Vinyl Cleaner won't dry or fade your vinyl. It has powerful cleaning agents that blast away fish blood, grease, road grime, and more without harmful chemicals that ruin your boat's vinyl. Starbright's Ultimate Vinyl Guard is like a sunblock for your boat's vinyl cushions. It restores moisture and shine to sun-bleached vinyl without being slippery. Plus, it blocks harmful UV rays and helps keep your vinyl cleaner longer. Starbright Ultimate Vinyl Guard is great for plastic, rubber, and leather, too. It's ideal protectant for trucks and cars as well. Use Ultimate Vinyl Guard on your car or truck dashboard, seats, and door panels. Heck, you can even use it on the sidewalls of your truck or trailer tires. Starbright Ultimate Vinyl Guard makes all your stuff look great.
Batten down the hatches. We've got another great hour with Captain Jim Ross and this week's special guest starting right now.
Hey guys and gals, welcome back. Appreciate you tuning in every Saturday to Catch a Memory. This is the second hour of the show. In case you missed the first hour and you're just tuning in, welcome to the show. For those of you that are returning, both on the air and out in Facebook, radio, streaming land, all of those app land. If you're in any of those lands, thank you for listening and welcome to the show as well. We appreciate you guys and gals tuning in to the show right here at Catch a Memory Outdoors. Hey, got Captain Jeff Kraynik in the studio with me. Of course, I'm Captain Jim Ross. For those of you that have been longtime listeners of the show, we appreciate you tuning in and listening to it. Got a few things that I wanted to talk about with Jeff. And, being an ex-law enforcement guy, you've had the opportunity, obviously, to have plenty of range time and also plenty of real-world situations where you've had to draw your weapon, okay? Now, let's just start with like a personal defense type of a thing, because a lot of people carry now. We've got an open carry here in the state of Florida. You can open carry pretty much anywhere except for, some federal buildings and some private places that say, hey, we prefer that you not have a firearm. No firearm allowed in this particular scenario. But there's a lot of places, everywhere else, basically, you can either conceal carry or open carry. Now, I'm not necessarily convinced that if you're walking into Publix to get a gallon of milk that you need to have an open carry situation going on. Maybe, but probably a concealed carry option is probably a little better. People that are uneasy with firearms and sidearms in particular would probably feel a little more comfortable not seeing your gun being shown. And so I get that, but we're allowed to do either now,
right,
here in this state.
So with all of the people that are now entering into those two scenarios, concealed carry or open carry, I mean, what are some of the tips that you would have for all of us, really, if we decide we do want to, in fact, carry a gun on us?
I am big pro 2A rights. It's funny, though, I'm kind of torn on the open carry, though. I don't want a bad guy to know. You know, I went 30 years in a uniform.
You show up, they know you're armed.
They know you're armed.
Yeah. There's no element of surprise there whatsoever.
The last thing I want to do is telegraph that I've got a gun on me, because let's face it, the training may not be all that good. You have the right to carry, which is great, but maybe the training's not there. But you are making yourself a target. You know, you think you're walking around bow-chested and stuff like that. Hey, I got a gun on my hip. Yeah, well, you're also telling the bad guy that's two people in front of you at the line or behind you that you may be the one engaged first.
Yeah, you're the first target.
You're the first
You're
target
the first
now.
threat. Yeah.
So that's where I'm kind of torn on that type of open carry.
See, now, let's say you're out riding your horse in the woods. You're riding your four-wheeler. You're in your side-by-side. You're bow hunting in the woods, okay? Things of this nature. Obviously, there are great times for open carry.
And see, those type of activities have had open carry.
Fishing and hunting for years.
Yes, for now, I think it's 13 years going on. Yeah. And everybody thought that was going to turn us into the wild, wild west. I don't think there's been a single incident. No. And when you're doing outdoor activities such as hunting, fishing, hiking, backpacker, you're allowed to open carry. But you're supposed to go from the house to what you're doing back to the house again. You're not really supposed to be stopping into Publix, open carrying to pick up your munchies for the weekend, or your beer.
And don't stop by the post office to check your post office box.
Right.
Do not do that. That won't end well.
It's good and it's bad.
Yeah. People have the right to defend themselves.
They do.
Okay. And so that's great. And unfortunately, there are those out there that don't care what the law is. If their intent to do bad is strong enough, then they're going to do it. And so in my case, and in a lot of people's cases, I feel like a concealed carry is a better option, because now you don't automatically become the first target if there's an incident that's going to go on, because you're showing that you could potentially be resistance to that person's thought process if their intent is to do bad.
Correct. So, it's a double-edged sword, and it's a personal choice at this point what you want to do, just the way the laws are now.
Yeah. So in going to so let's say there's a person out there who is contemplating, they don't have a gun, okay, but they're contemplating, I want to get a gun. I would feel safer if I had a gun and some training. Obviously, the training's got to go along with the gun.
Correct.
Let's just talk about caliber. What caliber would you recommend the average person, familiar or unfamiliar with guns, if they want to carry, what would you recommend for them to carry on them?
A 9mm or a .380.
Okay.
Anything below that or above that, below that you're getting into, just there's not a lot of bullet there.
Okay.
Above a 9mm, you start getting into control issues. A lot of people, are .45 freaks. In its time, that was a good round, but it's got more than half the recoil per round that the 9mm does. The 9 is probably the most controllable round out there for self-defense.
Okay.
And that's why you see so many law enforcement agencies using 9mm.
And we have to kind of define what self-defense is, okay? Self-defense, I would consider self-defense within 5 yards, 15 feet would be, because at that point, you may or may not be able to run and get away, get to safety, get to whatever. Outside of 15, 18, 20 feet, I would consider that to be, you probably stand a pretty good chance of getting away from whatever the threat is, as long as let's say they have a knife or a pistol. Now, in a long gun situation, all bets are off.
Right.
Obviously, throw that straight out the window. But in a personal defense scenario, it does 15, 5 yards, 15 feet. Does that sound accurate? Is my interpretation of
The
this
average
right?
police shooting is about 3 yards.
9 feet.
Yeah, it's very narrow. Not a lot of shots. We've got these TAC guys. I'm not talking cops. You tell somebody's carrying a gun, and they got a pair of cargo pants on, a polo shirt, and
Untucked.
That's pretty much announcing yourself too. But no, I like the 9mm. During the cruise incident back in '96, where we lost those 2 officers and the 4 citizens, that made me. I watched guys engage with the bad guy and run out of ammo. Well, we were right down the canal line from him. We were in a canal when we engaged him. He was out of rounds. He was now combat ineffective because he was carrying a 45 with 7+1 in the pipe. Nice thing about 9 is you've got a lot of options when it comes to capacity.
Yeah.
And again, it's an easy round to fire. If you take your time when you're practicing and learn how to shoot, you're going to be putting it in, an area that big. You don't have to shoot out to 40 yards. 10 yards is about...
Like you say, the distance portion of it, to me, that no longer becomes self-defense. If you're at 20 yards from a guy, you can turn and run. You can. There are, in my mind, there's other options.
There's other options if you have cover or concealment.
Yes.
If you're out in the open,
different story.
You may have to engage this guy.
It's scenario based.
Yeah.
Now, as far as, so let's just say you've chosen 9mm, okay? Just for sake of argument, you've chosen 9mm. Do you like these micro carry guns? Do you like a mid-sized gun? Or do you like a full duty service size weapon for personal carry? And so let's give an example. A Kel-Tec P15, okay? 9mm, subcompact, less than an inch wide, 15+1 or 14+1, okay? So 15 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. Carry chambered or carry unchambered?
Unchambered gun is worthless to you.
Is a paperweight.
It's a paperweight. I don't care
so
if it's on you or in your pocket.
Carrying, always chambered.
Always chambered.
Okay. And obviously, if your gun has a safety on.
Correct.
So let's look at a Kel-Tec P15 that has 14+1 capacity. So you got 15 rounds of self-defense, barring if you don't have an extra magazine with you. Let's take a Glock 19, okay, as an example. Shorter grip, easier to conceal, but still fairly long slide. Capacity about the same, I believe, right around 15 rounds, 14, 15 rounds in capacity. Not with an extended magazine, blah, 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 but just a regular gun. And then let's say like a Glock 17 or an M&P, what is there? Is it the Shield? No.
The M&Ps.
The full size. So you're looking at a full, what we call a duty, like what service duty, LE duty size gun like you would carry.
That's what I carried most of my.
A Glock 17 that is a 16+1 type of capacity.
And you were able to get magazines that were you got 2 more rounds.
Yeah.
I'm a big Glock fan. I'm not a fanboy. Whatever they come out with, I've got to buy. I've just spent enough years carrying the pistol to know that it 33 moving parts, and that's including the magazine spring. Again, it comes down to personal preference, and Glocks don't always fit a lot of people. They've got.
Oh, I mean, there's tons of options. I mean, CZ makes a wonderful 9mm. There's a ton of, like say, a ton of options.
There is a ton of options.
But do you like that micro? Do you like that mid-size, or do you like that full duty service size?
I was for my pocket gun. I started out with a Glock 43.
Okay.
I think it's 40, which is a 380. Carried that for several years. Then Glock came out with the 42, which was a mini 9.
Yeah, 9 subcompact.
Yeah, that is a great gun to carry.
Polymer, lightweight versus metal. I would say that's the other thing. Polymer versus metal frame. I would say in a concealed carry, polymer for the lightness. I would say in an open carry, metal for the durability.
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
No?
Those polymers hold up better than the metal does now.
Really?
Yeah.
See, unknowledgeable.
Let's put it this way: when I went
being an unknowledgeable person in that particular aspect, I just learned something.
When I went to armor school for Glock,
right,
and I'm talking way long ago, we were from the factory. Now, clean it like you do your metal guns. Squirt it down with brake cleaner. What? You're not going to hurt the polymer? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, simple brake cleaner that you buy at the auto store.
Yeah, all these guys look for all this special stuff to clean their weapons, and you've got the factory reps and armorers going, brake cleaner.
Yeah.
Because the only 2 places when you're done cleaning after you get done with the barrel and the breech, the only place that needs lubrication on a Glock are the slide rails.
Yeah.
And that's 1 drop each.
Yeah, don't over lube.
Yeah, because it'll just collect dust just on your hip. So, but that's just me. I like a smaller gun. Everybody knows I always carry a 22 Magnum revolver in my pocket, and I'm to the point now where my gun is to throw a couple of rounds down there to distract them to get the hell out of there.
Right.
Fight my way to my truck.
Right.
That's a different story. So
yeah. There's things in the truck that can back you up.
Even when we were working patrol, our sidearms were to fight our way back to the patrol car to get our M4s.
Yeah. Well, let's take a break on that note. So subcompact or compact, 9mm polymer frame is your would be your go-to.
Yeah, 9mm or 380.
Or 380, yeah, or 380. All righty, gang, we're going to come back with Captain Jeff and a little more on this after this break, so don't go away. Greasy smears, fish blood, dirty footprints, and spilled food all create a mess on your boat's deck. Here's a fast and easy solution to clean them. Starbright Ultimate Extreme Clean. Just spray it on the spot, hit it with a deck brush, and rinse it off. Dirty vinyl cushions, greasy drips around your outboard, even those suspicious stains your fishing buddy always seems to leave behind, don't stand a chance when you squirt a little Ultimate Extreme Clean on them. Starbright Ultimate Extreme Clean works great to clean your grill and around the house. You can use it on your truck or lawnmower. It gets greasy stains out of clothing too. Just spray it on any greasy spot, give it a light rub, and they'll look like new again. Make sure you pick up some Starbright Ultimate Extreme Clean and lose those greasy stains today. Assassin,
The most trusted name in bass fishing is also the top soft plastic lure brand for saltwater species. Sea trout, tarpon, redfish, and snook can't resist a saltwater assassin 4-inch sea shad. Its amazing swimming action sets the bar for swim bait designs. Others continue to try, but no one has been able to replicate the action of this incredible minnow-style lure. But Assassin has other proven designs. The native shiner-colored 5-inch shad assassin is my go-to lure when I'm targeting big trout. Redfish love the drunk monkey or the mudbug-colored 4-inch assassin shrimp. And snook and tarpon love their new little P&V dart bait in watermelon red flake or Houdini colors. You can rig these lures on a weedless worm hook or on the amazing Assassin Spring Lock jig head. So these are just a few of my favorite Assassin lures that help me and my customers stay happy. Check out what top professional anglers have known for years. Assassin lures simply catch more fish. Stop in your local tackle store or go to bassassassin.com to check out this incredible lure for yourself. Hey, gang, you know what time it is. It's time for you to make that phone call that's going to save you some money. Call Petrucci Insurance Agency because you don't want to be paying too much for your boat, house, or car insurance. And the easiest way to figure that out is to give Petrucci a call and let them do a rate quote for you, see if they can find you a better deal. So that is your task for Monday morning.
Plus, he needs to buy duck gear for next year because we got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got him hooked pretty bad.
Yeah, we did.
So,
we sure did.
That was a good shoot.
It was not a good shoot. It was fun shoot.
It was a fun shoot.
Yeah, we didn't do too good, but
we came in with some birds.
I felt bad for you that day. Jeff's out there just shaking his head. You guys suck. Anyway, call Petrucci Insurance, 321-632-1200, 632-1200. Give them a call and make sure you're not paying too much for your insurance. It's real simple, guys. It's Monday morning, Tuesday morning, make that phone call. Save yourself some money with Petrucci Insurance Agency, that's for sure. Yeah, so going back to the carry issue, or the carry gun. You were mentioning during the break, there's other options, especially for someone who may be not quite as experienced with a gun, but wants to get experienced with a gun. And there's options there with possibly, some of the revolvers and things that are out now.
You can't go wrong with a revolver. Okay. I mean, they have their place now. They don't, as a backup gun, they have their place in law enforcement. In law enforcement, they've been phased out because you've just got better options.
Yeah.
But like Leslie, when she's got several pistols, she prefers the simplicity over the revolver over her semi-automatic pistol.
Gotcha.
And they are easier guns to learn, and it's a good option. And you'll have these tack guys say, well, you got 6 versus, whatever you got in the same, 10. A lot more moving parts for somebody that's never been around guns before.
Yeah.
A revolver is a good way to start. I mean, my sergeant from work carried a revolver on his ankle the entire time I knew him.
Yeah.
And so did some other guys. So, they're just a simple gun to learn how to shoot.
Yeah. And in a self-defense scenario where you're just trying to get whatever the aggressor is trying to do, get them to stop that activity. You're not out there, you're not John Wick, you're not an assassin, okay? So let's just throw that out the window. You're not that guy, okay? You're not shooting it between your legs and behind your head and hitting a guy at 30 yards in the forehead every time. It doesn't happen, okay? You're just trying to stop a potential threat. And 6 rounds, in most cases, even if you missed, that's going to deter somebody in many cases because they're going to, wait a minute, I'm getting shot at now. The prey has now become the predator.
and I don't need to be part of this.
The average police shooting takes place, like I said, within 3 yards and about 2 rounds.
Yeah.
That's the average police shooting.
So going back to shot placement, or let's further into shot placement, with a rifle, okay, and everybody who's been in the military basically has gone through this drill with their semi-automatic platform weapon. But you should do it also, I feel like, with a gun, okay? It's 2 to the chest, 1 to the head.
Mozambique drill.
It's pow-pow, pow, pow-pow, pow, pow-pow, pow. And you replicate that over and over and over again.
And you're letting the gun do the work because you shoot your 2 rounds center mass, it's climbing at that point.
It's already halfway there.
So for your 3rd shot, you've made your head shot. And that's what's the 2 body shots don't stop them. The 3rd one will, to the head.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes you just don't have the angle or the time but that's the standard drill. They don't call it Mozambique anymore, but in my day they did.
Yeah.
And we were all very, very, and I still am very proficient in it.
But that's the way I train. That's the way many people that I know train, is that it's a 3-round burst, 2 to the body, 1 to the head.
Yep.
Those are obviously in ideal conditions. Now, if somebody's jumped on you, anything you can get into them at that point is a positive.
Correct.
Especially if you're in a scuffle or you're on the ground or whatever.
They all turn into pig piles.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you can stop the threat at arm's length or just beyond arm's length, 2 center mass, 1 to the head typically stops the issue.
Most civilian people that carry, I always recommend a rock back drill where you come up to the target, you touch it, and then you learn to rock back and shoot center mass, stomach area.
Not arm extended, but arm on your hip.
Just right out of the holster.
On your hip.
Just make sure you don't shoot. You put your other hand, your off hand up here to get it out of the way of the gun and the muzzle. And boom, boom, 2-3 rounds right in the stomach, in the chest. That's a good drill. And the Mozambique drill. If you learn those 2, you will be an efficient enough shooter to where if you have to, you can protect yourself.
Yeah.
You don't need to do all this Soldier of Fortune, John Wick stuff. Right. That's just not how the real world is.
Gotcha. And that's coming from 30 plus years of experience wearing the badge.
Correct. And
like I say, you can watch the movies all you want. The movies that's not real life.
And sadly, getting back to the cruise incident, at the time, we were carrying revolvers. The only ones that had auto pistols is the SWAT team. The rest of us were too dumb to have.
Hadn't switched over yet.
And what ended up happening is Ronnie Grogan, Jerry Johnson, after he got his leg shot out from underneath him, was actually executed by Cruz because he came up behind him, shot him in the back one time while he was reloading his revolver.
Gotcha.
So he engaged. Cruz had a Mini 14. He engaged him once he got out of the patrol car with the 357 Smith & Wesson. Got his leg shot out from under him, trying to reload. So wasn't too long after that we all had auto pistols.
Yeah. So now moving from a personal defense type scenario, polymer gun, close range, shot placement obviously is going to vary, but in an ideal situation, 2 to 3 rounds is typically going to help keep you away from that assailant.
All you got to do is get up on TikTok or YouTube and put in some shootings or robberies, and you could see how people are act, especially a bad guy, when he's not expecting the clerk or somebody standing in line to actually fight back and engage him. What's the first thing they do? They start running out the door,
turn and run. Yeah.
Shooting behind them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these kind of bad guys aren't trained. They're just looking for their next piece of rock.
Yeah.
So home defense. Do you still like a pistol? A lot of guys, like other options in a home protection scenario, home defense scenario.
Personal choice. I mean, I've got pistols next to the bed because if anything's going to happen. But if you notice, though, a large majority of home invasions are drug ripoffs or revenge killings. Very, very few are random because they don't know what they're getting into when they try to do a home invasion. That's all Hollywood and the news. All you got to do is look at the numbers. I'm not saying you're not going to have to one day. Hopefully you never will. But
God willing, none of this ever comes into play for any of our listeners.
Right. And if it is random, it's because they accidentally hit the wrong house. They wanted the drug dealers next door, not you, and that has happened.
Right.
But the myth about home invasions, it's stealing their drugs, stealing their money, or revenge. And if you aren't involved in that, you will never have a home invasion.
Yeah, or shouldn't. Yeah. So
a lot of guys like shotguns.
Okay. Let's take a break and let's expand on the shotgun scenario in the next phase.
Okay.
Guys and gals, we're going to be right back with Captain Jeff Kraynik and myself, Jim Ross. So don't go away. More Catch a Memory coming at you.
Hey guys, Captain Blair Wiggins here. I'm sure you're aware of the ongoing projects out there that are aimed at restoring seagrass and water quality in the Indian River Lagoon system. Well, here's one that I'm proud to have played a role in getting started, the Indian River Lagoon Clam Restoration Project. I collaborated with Whitney Labs, CCA, the FWC, and many other partners to implement this clam restoration project right here on Florida's East Coast. I would love for every one of you to get involved with this program. Your $20 donation will put 200 clams back into our lagoons. As they grow, these 200 clams will filter over 1 million gallons of lagoon water per year, greatly impacting the health of our local waters. Your contributions are tax deductible, so please help our lagoon by donating $20, $50, $100 or more to this cause. You can make your donation online at IndianRiverClamProject.org/support. Again, that's IndianRiverClamProject.org/support. And on behalf of myself and our waters in the lagoon, we thank you.
Sunrise Marina Bait and Tackle Shop. They've been serving Brevard County anglers for over 25 years. Sunrise has all of the gear that you hardcore anglers need for a productive day on the water, and they've got frozen baits like ballyhoo, sardines, squid, and more. Plus, Sunrise Marina has a great selection of live baits, shrimp, pinfish, croakers, mud minnows, fiddler crabs, and a whole lot more. So if you're looking for tackle, rods and reels, boating accessories, fresh-made sandwiches, or your favorite beverages, Sunrise Marina has got everything for you, and you can ice it all down with some bagged or bulk ice at their convenient, trailer boat-friendly drive-thru. Sunrise Marina also stocks some really cool nautical gifts, as well as the performance clothing and casual clothing that anglers like you and me like to wear. Make sure you stop by Sunrise Marina before heading out before your next fishing adventure. They're easy to find right across the street from Grill's Restaurant at 505 Glen Cheek Drive in Port Canaveral. Hey guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in. This segment of the show is brought to you by Mudhole Tackle. And, of course, if you guys and gals have been to Mudhole Custom Tackle over in Oviedo, what a fantastic shop they have. One of the best in Central Florida, that's for sure. They've got their 50th anniversary coming up here in just a couple of weeks. We've got a block party going on April 18th. We're going to be over there doing a live remote from that. But, whether you're catching bass, bluegill, redfish, or you're heading offshore, Mudhole has pretty much everything that you're going to need under one roof. Also,
whenever you've got the opportunity, or if you get the opportunity on the 18th of April, definitely get yourself over to the 50th anniversary. I can't believe they've been in business for 50 years. But there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. Over 40 brands represented there, local captains, custom rod building, all going on, free seminars, giveaways all day long.
I think Chico's supposed to be there too, isn't he?
I haven't heard him. I haven't heard actually a list. I'm supposed to be getting a list of who's supposed to be there.
I thought I read something that he was going to be there.
But yeah, we've got a bunch of people that are going to be there, a bunch of names within the industry. I think C.A. Richardson may be there. I'll be there. Rodney's going to be there. Rodney Sayre's going to be there. So lots of good stuff going on. Had well over 500 people attend last year. Hopefully this year's going to be even bigger. But I'll tell you, I went there last week and watched Justin Ritchie's seminar on jigging, on vertical jigging and slow pitch jigging.
Mm-hmm.
More so on slow pitch. And the reason is because he feels like it's something everybody can do. High-speed vertical jigging is very intensive, labor-intensive.
Yes.
And he's like, you're going to do it as a young guy. A guy my age and your age, Jeff, not probably going to stick with it real long. But slow pitch, you can slow pitch all day long. And the techniques and the things that he talked about and went in depth into slow pitch, I could not believe I didn't know all that I didn't know. You know what they say, you don't know what you don't know until you know. Last week was an eye-opener for me. Not that I'm an expert in that particular style of fishing whatsoever, but I have an idea. I've done it a little bit. I have an idea. In watching an expert person give a seminar on a specific subject like he did, that was one of the best seminars I've ever attended in my life. And I've given hundreds of seminars in my day, and I would say he was within one of my top 10. It was really, really great information. So
Captain Todd Munson from the Keys, you had him on the show last year.
Yeah.
When we went up to Alaska to work, you couldn't even find slow pitch jigs at the tackle stores up there.
Mm-mm.
We brought some of our own. And again, it's all about presentation, something a fish has never seen before. But we intentionally took those rigs off before we pulled back into the marina. And we were just slaying the fish. Like you said, anybody could slow pitch jig. I'd go over it 5-10 minutes before the charter, before I tell them to drop their lines. And, using diamond jigs, slow pitch, it's just...
And crushing it.
Crushing it.
Yeah.
Crushing it.
So, anyway, there's going to be a whole lot more seminars coming up on the 50th anniversary, and I would highly recommend that you guys and gals go ahead and mark it in your calendar now for the April 18th date over there at Mudhole. So, they're right there in Oviedo, right off Component Loop, real easy to find. All of that's brought to you by the Foundations Outdoor Group. So, definitely we hope to see you all there. It's going to be a big time. We've also got the Orlando Boat Show coming up the last weekend of this month. So I'll be there giving seminars both Saturday and Sunday. We'll be giving away we'll be doing a drawing for raffle giveaways. So if you guys and gals are interested in potentially winning a raffle after listening to one of my seminars last weekend of March over at the Orlando Boat Show.
Well, let's quickly finish up then with some dates.
Okay.
April 25th is the Project Sea Safe.
Yep. Down at Old Fish House.
Old Fish House in Grant. That part of the operation is open to the public. There's going to be vendors there. We're going to be putting out clams. We're going to be planting mangroves.
Yeah, that's going to be a big time.
That's going to be a big time. We're doing a live remote that morning.
Yep.
And then we haven't set anything up yet, but on the 9th is the Heroes at the Jolly Gator. We were there last year.
The mud boat run.
Yeah, for the mud boat run. That's on the 9th at the Jolly Gator up off of 46.
And that's May 9th.
May 9th.
Yeah.
And then there's another mud run down in Lake Kissimmee the following weekend out of Grape Hammock. So if anybody's interested in that, you can find all that stuff on Facebook. I think I've got everything covered there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got some live remotes coming up, and
Got a bunch of stuff coming in.
You
this
are
next
going
couple
to
of
get
weeks.
tired again of seeing me. And I think next 2 months I'm in 4 weekends for you.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. We're gonna have a big time. So, anyway, those are some of the things that you guys and gals need to know about. Also, we've got to do the Starbright cleaning solution segment of the show, and I'm going to go back to it again because once again, yesterday I find myself using it. It's the magic sponge. All of those things that your deck brush, your wash mitt, you just won't pick up and take off of the boat. Man, that magic sponge, that ultimate magic sponge from Starbright, gets it. Just gets it.
I used mine. I've got a lot of Line-X on my truck.
Mm-hmm.
The boxes, the rod holders, and they do have a special paint over them after they get applied. But it's been 10 years and they're really, really starting to fade.
Okay.
I called up Line-X and I gave them the materials, the stuff on the vinyl guard. This is pretty close to vinyl. And I talked it over with one of their techs and he said, you should be, there's not a whole lot that'll kill them or ruin them.
Ruin the Line-X.
Ruining the Line-X. Give it a try. And I gave it a try, and what a difference. I've got before and after and next two pictures like on my toolbox.
Right.
I'm fixing this week to post that whole little experiment up. But all I did was I took the sponge there and I dabbed. I didn't run it back and forth, but I dabbed the whole box. Looks brand new.
With the vinyl
guard and the sponge.
Gotcha.
What a difference.
Interesting.
Yeah. All the outside rubber plastic parts, like the bed guard on top and the bumper.
Seals around your windows and doors.
Sponge and vinyl.
Windshield.
The sponge and the vinyl guard.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I have to try it.
Oh, it works.
I have to try it. So, guys and gals, get out there, check out the Starbright products. Obviously, there's tons and tons and tons to choose from. There's no shortage of things to choose from. So that Ultimate Magic Sponge obviously is a multi-purpose tool. It cleans and also, with the right products, helps protect. So
I've got some good news.
What's that?
I've been brought onto the Starbright's pro staff team.
Officially
now.
Congratulations.
I've only attended, this will be my third event, and even Gregor goes, didn't we take care of this before? And I said, I kept forgetting.
Yeah. It happens.
Because it was always the product, all I got to do is call and I'd get it anyways.
Yeah.
The guys are great, and but yeah, now it's official.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really, really excited to be part of the program. Help out the Sea Safe community guys there, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? We got about 3 minutes. Let's talk about shotguns in the home.
Okay.
Some guys I'm a 12 gauge guy. Some guys are like, well, you don't need that much. All you need is a 20 gauge. I mean, what is your personal preference when it comes to a shotgun for home defense? Can a guy use his turkey gun? Can he use his duck gun? Obviously you could, but are there better options?
I think so. I mean, the whole scenario of the home invasion, actually happening to somebody, very, very low. But if you're trained on a pistol, you carry that pistol, but just put the pistol next to the bed.
Gotcha.
Because that's what you're comfortable shooting. Nothing says you have to stop, shooting. You want to put holes in your door and in your wall because there's somebody over there you don't want in the house. Nothing's stopping you from reloading, but you're comfortable carrying that gun.
Gotcha.
Comes down to muscle memory.
That's the main thing is that you have to shoot the gun to be proficient with the gun.
Correct.
I mean, if you're going to buy it and not use it, then really there's no reason to buy it. You got to use it. You've got to take it to the range. You've got to take it out to your property and plink it some cans or some targets. You've got to become proficient with that weapon.
no matter what type of weapon it is. You don't go deer hunting without sighting your rifle in and shooting it multiple times to make sure that you're on. You don't take your shotgun turkey hunting without patterning the choke and finding out what load goes through it best. You don't just grab some shells off the store and go, oh, I'm just going to go turkey hunting. I mean, you don't know. What's your range? Is it 40 yards, 60 yards, 70 yards? Is it shooting a little left, a little right, a little high, a little low? You don't know until you go and shoot it and get proficient with it.
Well, we had this discussion out in the duck blind when we were with Don about aiming the shotgun. And if the drill that was taught me by Chase Platt, who is now an FWC officer, we were shooting a lot of sporting clays back then. He was a master class shooter. I only shot the hunter's class,
right?
Because you move up too quick, all of a sudden you're shooting against guys like Chase Platt.
Yeah,
they're kicking your butt every
meet.
Every meet. So, but he goes, Jeff, point your finger. Say, okay. Point your finger towards that microphone. There. Point your finger towards that camera over there. Okay. On top of that, you're looking at it too, correct? Your eyes go wherever that finger goes. Okay. What you do is it's going to be hard to demonstrate, but on your non-trigger hand, when you got your hand up on the forearm, you extend your finger along. It's uncomfortable
alongside the barrel.
Alongside, you got your pointing finger going alongside the forearm of the shotgun.
Okay.
It works the same way. When it comes to, you look, you got your finger basically pointed that way. It improved my shooting, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but 5 to 6 clays per round by using that technique.
Interesting.
And the second thing with a shotgun, which you're very familiar with, is not following through.
I'm very familiar with that.
Okay.
Yes.
You gotta, if you're shooting at moving targets,
unfortunately,
if you're shooting at moving targets, you can't stop moving that shotgun, because as soon as you stop moving it, the shot's behind them. Yeah. So those are the two big things.
Going back real quick before we go to break to a home invasion scenario. If a guy is more comfortable or a woman is more comfortable with a shotgun, do you have, let's just say, not maybe a one size fits all, but let's say, what would your top 2 be?
For a shotgun?
For a shotgun. Not necessarily brand, just style.
Obviously an autoloader's best if you're getting woken up out of a sound sleep, because you don't have to rack it.
Right.
But your most popular shotguns for home defense are, believe it or not, the 870.
Okay.
The Remington 870. Now,
and what load are you putting in that?
What do I have in mind? I want to say just buckshot.
Buckshot.
Yeah. Send as many things downrange as you can.
Large things.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw this reel on Facebook or Instagram or something, and it's this guy saying that just pistols put holes in people, rifles put holes through people, shotguns at the right range with the right load take a chunk of that person and leave it on the wall behind them.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate description.
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty accurate description. So something in the 12 gauge or 20 gauge range?
Yeah, think? 20 gauge, 12, that's fine.
And buckshot?
Yes.
And that should be sufficient?
Should be.
Easy enough.
Okay.
So there you go, guys and gals. We're going to take our next break when we come back. Actually, it's going to be our last break of the day. We're going to have a wrap up with some of the fishing here, so don't go away. We're going to switch back from the target shooting, home defense, that sort of thing. Get back onto some fishing right after these messages. StarTron enzyme fuel treatment makes all engines run stronger, smoother, and helps them get better fuel economy. The enzymes in StarTron improve the quality of all fuels so engines start easier, even if they haven't been run for several months. Don't just stabilize your fuel, tune it with StarTron. StarTron enzyme fuel treatment can also be used in 2- and 4-stroke engines, trucks, lawnmowers, generators, motorcycles, four-wheelers, basically anything that runs on gas. You can also get StarTron diesel fuel treatment for your truck, boat, or tractor, or construction equipment. If you want to fuel more power, tune your fuel with StarTron. Is your home under attack from pests or termites? Or have furry wildlife made themselves way too comfortable in your attic? At Integrity Pest Management, they specialize in getting rid of pests, termites, and wildlife safely and effectively. With years of experience and commitment to integrity, they protect your home from unwanted invaders using eco-friendly and efficient solutions. Don't wait for the damage to pile up. Call Integrity Pest Management today for a free inspection and let them restore peace and security to your home. Call 321-637-1199 or visit them at integritypestmanagement.com. Integrity Pest Management, where your home safety and your peace of mind are their top priority. Exactly. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. Last segment of the show is brought to you by... Who is it brought to you by? Oh, we already did everybody. So it's just brought to you by Jeff and Jim. This segment brought to you by Jeff and Jim. So, Jeff, cobia showed up this week.
Yes.
Cobia off Playa Linda, cobia off Satellite, cobia off Patrick Air Force Base, and then cobia off of New Smyrna. So multiple places that the rays and the cobia popped up right within a mile of the beach. I didn't talk to anybody who basically found fish outside of 40 feet. It was all inside of 40 feet, and some of it was within just yards of the sand almost, especially up around Playa Linda. They got really tight to the beach up there. Really, really, good session. The other thing that happened this past week, with all of the east wind that we had prior to that calm period that we could actually get back out, it blew a lot of man-o-war and weeds in. Well, with those weeds comes baitfish, crabs, shrimps, these little yellow-colored sargasso crabs. I don't know what they really are. They're just little tiny yellowish crabs. And the tripletail were out bumping the grass. You could pull up on a grass patch and look around, and you could see the tripletail bumping the grass, trying to disturb it to see if they could get a crab or a shrimp to kind of jump out of it and go from spot to spot. And the cobia will do the same thing. I didn't see any cobia doing it myself, but I did see the tripletail doing it. So it was really fun because you're sight fishing in this case. The other thing that I saw this week that was very interesting, this was in Canaveral Bight in about 28, 30 feet of water. We were out there looking around at some of those weed patches. Tripletail grouping up on themselves in little pods, little schools of 4 to say 8 fish in a little pod, almost like they were like in a spawning or pre-spawning type of a scenario. So that was really neat. And some of the fish that we cleaned this week did have roe in them. So obviously they are in the process of doing that. So those things for people that like to get out, that like to sight fish, that like to take fish home that are edible, obviously cobia and tripletail, two of the best. Snook, on the other hand, this week were absolutely one of the worst snook bites I've seen in years. This week was, in fact, we didn't catch a snook this week.
Wow.
Didn't catch a snook. We had a couple of bites, lost a couple of fish. We didn't, in 3 trips to the Port Canaveral area, fishing the beaches, the jetties, even inside in the back of the port, we did not land a snook this week and had very few bites. So for what it's worth,
It's March.
It's March. And they get silly and fussy and they do silly things. Now, April's a whole other story. April and May, they get fun.
Right.
Because they get hungry and they start chewing again. But for whatever reason, this past week was very tough. And I did talk with and saw a couple of fish caught. Okay, I'm not going to say there wasn't snook caught. I'm just saying that it was overall, the snook bite was very lackluster this past week. So hopefully they'll...
And yeah, when you can see them on the side scan and they're not biting, that's even more
when there's
frustration.
250 fish sitting there in a school and you throw your croaker in your hand-picked shrimp in there and you watch 2 holes open up where the croaker and the shrimp hit the bottom,
Yep.
and they just move away from it and create a donut around it, a 10-foot perimeter donut, that's not the desired result. When you're looking at the side scan and you're saying, no, that's not what I wanted to see, that's what happened a lot this week. A lot. Now, the redfish we're starting to pick up a little bit, both along the beach and inshore. And I even talked with Mike Kipp. You know, a lot of those giant black drum that we've been catching all winter long, those fish have been very scarce, very hard to come by. I think many of them have either gone out Sebastian Inlet or out Ponce Inlet, and they've gotten out along the beach. Because I was talking with Captain, got a text from Captain Mike Kipp, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he caught one out in like 70 feet of water that was 50 pounds. So while he was bottom fishing for triggerfish and lanes and stuff like sea bass, stuff like that. So it seems like those fish have pushed out and are making their migration north. Those bigger fish do that. The fish that are 25 pounds and less have a tendency to stick around in the lagoon all year. But those 30, 40, 50 pounders, they start heading on that migration.
Wait, hold on.
Just the same way tarpon do.
Hold on. Didn't the experts 20 years ago say that they're born there in the lagoon and they die there? They don't ever leave?
Yeah, but they're not experts.
Okay. They said they were.
Well, I call myself a fishing guide. Is that a true thing?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I mean, 260, 270 days on the water because I don't fish weekends.
Right. You're the busiest guide I know. I've said that to you a dozen times.
It's
I don't know how you keep up.
When you see it firsthand, you don't need to read somebody's study on what they think. They only studied them for 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
This is what I have to deal with when dealing with the water management people. Out there maybe 100 days a year between gator and duck season.
Yeah.
They've been down to take a tour of that marsh one time, and they look at you in these meetings like, oh, yeah, we'll entertain you. But coming up at the next meeting, I've got an I told you so. 2 of them.
You got 2 of them.
2 of them. And they know it's coming because I already told them on the phone. It's like, Jeff, why do you do that? I said,
It's got to be on public record.
That's right.
Yeah.
I said, it's not against you. I said, you and I work great together, but I told you so.
Yeah.
So
anyway, we've got a lot of good things. Obviously, we're getting some wind right now. By the end of the week, it's supposed to slow down a little bit. The end of the upcoming week, it's supposed to slow down. So for those of you guys and gals out there that may have a sick day, may have an I can't see coming to work, kind of a thing going on, I would say this: get your cobia stuff ready, get your tripletail stuff ready. When the weather breaks, be there, because I have a feeling it's going to be a relatively short run, spring run, if you will. But right now's the time. The magnolia bush does not lie.
nope.
And it's in full bloom. And it was, I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now. The cobia bush started blooming, and all of a sudden, there they are. So it's one of those things where Mother Nature's telling you, make sure that you're prepared, because it's on. It's on.
Yeah, I'm off the water not off the water, boats in the shop for a week and a half. So I got to rely on everybody else to get me out there.
There you go. Well, I've got bookings every day, but
I know you do.
Something happens.
Blair and I will get out there.
Yeah, there you go. Well, how does somebody get a hold of Captain Jeff if they want to go do some kind of whatever? Get into the outdoors with the Coastal Sportsman.
The best way is 321-863-9182, or the web, or Facebook, Instagram. Not a big Instagram guy, I don't know why, but Facebook, that's where we put everything.
Gotcha.
So
the Coastal Sportsman, Captain Jeff Kraynik, one of the most knowledgeable guys I know. Thank you so much for being on the show today, buddy.
Well, get used to it. I think I'm in studio
a lot coming up.
4 times the next month.
A lot coming up. So, well, till then, do exactly what we're going to do, gang. Get out there and catch yourselves a memory.